Thank you, Christoph. Thank you, Pete, for the wonderful introductions. Some of you are probably thinking, oh no, we have to watch a presentation this late in the evening, but I promise you it will be very short, and I actually just want to tell you a little bit about sort of how I got here. And basically, for those of you that aren't interested in that story, I have some movie recommendations along the way that you can pay attention to. So, I grew up just 2 kilometers from here in Wemmel, and I was not at all the smartest. I wasn't the hardest working in school at all. I was good at math, but I wasn't necessarily the best one. I wasn't the one with the most leadership potential, etc. But I do think that there were sort of 5 things that I did right along the way and that brought me to this place. And even if I don't really deserve this prize, I'm planning to deserve it by the end of my career. I'm not done. So I want to tell you what the 5 things are that I did right, and I picked a movie to symbolize each one of them. The first one, which is sometimes I think harder for women to do, is that I like challenges. I like to take risks. I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey in it. But it's not necessarily a super great movie, but it's really funny because Jim Carrey plays this character who has the most boring life. He's in a total rut. And then one day he just decides to say yes to everything that comes his way, all the opportunities to come to, his way. And I've always lived that way, basically. I love risks, and I love taking on challenges, even though most of the time it's super scary what I sign up to do. And I most of the time feel like a total outsider or imposter, but I just go for it and learn along the way. So that includes, and I'm sorry the pictures are so small, but being one of 5 women to study computer science at the VUB, among 40 students in total, becoming a faculty member at MIT at age 29, starting one of the top, at that time, e-commerce companies in '94, only a year after the browser was basically made available to people. Giving a talk at TED and so on. With all of these things, I was always really scared and thought, oh my God, what did I sign up for this time? And then you have to live up to it. And so that's been one of my secrets. Second secret is being at the right place at the right time, or at least, or often a little bit early. I put a picture there of the movie Being There. That's a great movie as well, of this guy who's actually not that bright, a gardener, but somehow he is in the right place at the right time, and he moves all the way up to becoming an advisor to the president. He basically is very lucky, so I feel like I had a lot of luck, but it isn't pure luck. I think I have good intuition, and I've always chosen domains to work in long before they were sort of more widely known and popular. So I have a good nose, maybe, for sort of interesting areas to research before the masses are there, when it's really easy to do great stuff because nobody else has done all that much. I've always also sought out the most exciting places to do that work. So, of course, the VUB, Pete already mentioned that the VUB was the first one to offer a computer science degree in Belgium. They were the first one to have an AI laboratory in probably continental Europe. There's a picture on the top left of the AI lab, and it was really doing world-class work at a time when other universities were still trying to figure out what they were going to offer in computer science. From there, I went to the MIT AI lab on the right, the building by Gary. And of course, that's the mecca for AI research. Pete already mentioned that they are getting a lot of funding because they've always been seen as the leading center for AI research. In the last 27 years, I've actually worked at the MIT Media Lab, which is a separate laboratory. And I'm especially interested, or the reason why I moved from the AI lab to the Media Lab is that I'm interested in helping people be super intelligent as opposed to building intelligent machines. And the Media Lab is much more society and people focused in all of the research that it does. But then also in terms of virtual places to be at the right time, of course I was sort of part of that whole digital revolution, and there's another Time magazine cover with me in the bottom right, little picture there, and Steve Jobs on top of us all. So yeah, I think I've just made the right choices of where to go to do this exciting work. Third thing I did right is that I'm good at choosing mentors, and I picked the Karate Kid to symbolize that. In the Karate Kid, the mentor is this older guy on the right, Miyagi is his name, and he's really weird and offbeat and eccentric. His hobby is trying to catch flies with chopsticks. But he's this amazing mentor to this young kid. And I feel like I've actually chosen similar mentors that are somewhat atypical, people that stood out, to me at least, and eventually became recognized also because they were such innovators, such original thinkers, such visionaries. So I've always been attracted to working not just on topics that are very new and different, but also working with people who are, like the mentor in the movie, a little bit nutty, possibly, or maybe other people may think they are. And so that includes people like Luc Sales, who started the VUB AI lab, and who can't be here tonight. Marvin Minsky, who was mentioned before, who passed away recently, unfortunately, but is one of the founders of AI. I went to MIT one day and literally knocked on the door of Marvin and on the door of Rodney Brooks, another awesome, crazy guy, and just told them, I'm here to come work with you, and once you're there, they can't say no, so that's... So don't send the email, go in person. And so yeah, I just started working with them, first for like a summer, and then they invited me back and so on, and one thing led to another. Nicholas Negroponte, really one of the founders of the whole digital revolution, he founded Media Lab, is another person who likes to be very contrarian and different and make predictions that other people think are a little bit crazy. So these people all believed in me and supported me. They were all too busy to give me all that much advice, actually, but the most important thing that they did was that they believed in me, and because of that, I believed in myself, or I believed that I could do it. So they sort of helped me transcend the fears of the mind, and that was their most important role. Fourth thing I did right is to cultivate a great team. For this, I chose the Avengers. You may remember, those of you that have kids at the right age and went to see the movie, that there's a guy, Nick Fury, and he's faced with some huge problems, evil guys attacking the world, etc. And he has to put together this team of superheroes, and he has to go find them everywhere. And I feel that I'm doing the same always with my research group. Just like the Avengers, my team is incredibly diverse. They're diverse in ages, they're diverse in gender, they come from, I think we only have like 2 Americans in the group. This is just part of my group, by the way. It's actually a lot bigger, but these were the people that I took with me to my beach house 2 weeks ago. But they come from all over the world. They have different things they're good at, because after all these years of advising so many students, I've decided there is no perfect student. They're all good at something and not that good at other things. So what I do is I foster collaboration, and I put people together in a team that have all these different skills. So we have neuroscientists, we have designers, we have neural nets experts, we have electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and again, they come from all over the world, and I try to make a great place that supports collaborating, and that just is a lot of fun to work at. And I give them a lot of ownership. I don't tell them what to do. I want them to be invested in what they work on, because that's when they do their best work. And just like the mentors did for me, I believe in them. My most important thing is to believe in them, to be their biggest fan, and but to set high expectations, and then they usually meet them. When you really sort of tell someone you believe in them, that's when they do the best work, in my opinion. 5, another great movie, Jiro Dreams of Sushi, is a documentary about this guy in the middle there, Jiro, who runs a tiny little restaurant. The famous cook here probably knows about him, but he runs a 10-people restaurant somewhere in the subway in Tokyo. Nothing all that fancy, but it is the best sushi restaurant in the world, and he is so passionate, so committed to making the best sushi in the world, and he's given his entire life for that. And I believe in that as well. I was telling people at my table I would actually do my job even if they didn't pay me, or I would even pay people to do my job. They don't have to pay me, because I love doing what I do, and I think that we can improve the way we interact with our digital devices and the role that they play in our lives so much, and that there's so much potential there to really help people with all sorts of problems and to improve on the current condition. So for, even though I think I am naturally a lazy person, I actually work 14-hour days because I'm so into what I do that I have to remember to spend time with my husband and family, because I'm so sort of obsessed by it. So I believe in working on what you believe in, because that makes it fun, and it also means that you do well. So in summary, I actually haven't seen this movie, but the title seemed right to summarize. I think it's been a real roller coaster, my whole sort of professional experience, and like the poster says there, it's been astounding, no fear, no regret, no turning back, but I've enjoyed the ride. Thank you.